Welcome to January's edition of the Junior Naturalist Program. My name's Danny with the Parks Foundation, and today we are going on an adventure and a half, my friends. But stay tuned for the secret password that you will enter online, as well as the location of the hidden rock somewhere here in this park. Now, it may be winter time, but that doesn't mean we can't explore, so come on, let's go! Now is the perfect time to study our parks and see what winter changes has come to the Truckee Meadows. So let's meet up with naturalist Christina and get this JNats adventure rolling.
We are live here at Idlewild Park, where there are lots of trees, and trees are great. Trees make oxygen and reduce carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. The roots of trees usually grow underground to help keep the tree stable and to give it some water. Water and nutrients travel up from the roots to the tree trunk and out the branches to the leaves. Trees are really cool, especially during cool winter months. Oh, hey, Danny.
Oh hey, I didn't know if you saw me in there. Today, we're gonna learn and study the difference between two types of trees. Deciduous trees and evergreen trees. And winter is a great time to study them because they look very different from each other this time of year. Isn't that right, Christina?
Don't you notice that the days are shorter in the wintertime? Well, trees do too. They go through a lot of changes in the wintertime.
I've definitely noticed the shorter days now that I go to bed at 5 p.m. Kidding. Anyways, so what is a deciduous tree? What is an evergreen tree? And what is the difference between the two?
Well, let's find out, shall we? Here we have an example of a deciduous tree. It's called a cottonwood. Do you notice any of its winter changes?
How about the fact that its branches are bare? There's no leaves on the tree.
Yeah, exactly. So in the fall time, the leaves turn bright colors like orange, yellow, and red and prepare to fall off in the wintertime so the tree can conserve energy and water.
Go. So now that we know this, we can say all these trees in this area are deciduous. And we know that because none of these trees have any leaves at this time of year. Man, trees are so cool, wow! I like when leaves fall off of deciduous trees because it reveals beneath those leaves what the tree really looks like. How the branches reach out and take different shapes. And so wintertime is a really good time to check out these trees and see what their true form is. Check out this funky guy. Because deciduous trees have no leaves in the winter, it can make it hard to figure out what kind of tree it is. So you may want to have to look at the bark to determine what kind of tree you're looking at. Here, this bark is very similar to a liquid amber, and we can see the seed pods from the liquid amber here. You also may notice this wire cage around the tree. This is to protect the bark from beavers who will actually eat this bark, and it can kill the tree.
If you walk into the Rose Garden here at Idlewild, there's a pavilion, and here in this pavilion we have a sign of all of the oaks at Idlewild. These are all deciduous trees, and you can see the different kinds of leaves that come off of each kind. Also, online, you can look for the self-guided walking tours of the Idlewild Park trees and do a walking tour yourself.
Now we're talking about the boss of trees. Yeah, that's right. Just like my friend here, we're talking about evergreen trees.
Hey Junior Naturalist, Gino here, checking in to give you a special word of the month. That word for us is going to be evergreen. So parents, go ahead and click that link in your email or go to our Junior Naturalist webpage at tmparksfoundation.org and fill in that word of the month.
Wow, thanks Gino. I guess evergreen is the word to know in these parts. Let's talk about evergreen, shall we? Holy! Look at this beautiful specimen of a cedar. Now, why is it that trees such as the cedar still are full of green leaves, while trees like our deciduous tree here is bare and has no leaves? Why is that, Christina? Can you help us out here?
Well, evergreen trees are especially adapted for the wintertime. It looks like they have their leaves year-round, but they actually lose their leaves a little bit at a time throughout the year, which makes it look like they're green throughout the year.
So, evergreen, they're always green.
Some evergreens, like this tree right here, have really, really short trunks and low-hanging branches. This is a branch from a tree, and it almost looks like a bush because it's so low to the ground. You can even hide inside. Try to find this tree in the park. Also, if you smell the needles, they smell beautiful.
Some of these evergreen conifers are just so fluffy, I can't resist giving them a nice pet. Don't be afraid. They like a good pet, and they're really, really soft. When you're studying your evergreen trees, take a notice of the leaves. Many evergreen trees are conifers and have needles for leaves. So when you're checking them out, see what kind of needles they got, or they could have other types of stuff like scales or even broadleaves. This one here has needles. Conifers are called conifers because they carry cones, such as you see here. The seeds are held within inside the cone for safety. Later we'll do an experiment to try to open and close these cones, as well as make some crafts and such using the same cones.
Not all evergreens have needles. Some have scales like this tree here. You can see close up that there are some cones growing. These are just little baby cones that one day will become big cones. This is an evergreen here, but not all evergreen trees have needles or scales. Some of them have broad leaves like this one. Some of my favorite crafts are actually made with things that come from trees. You can use sticks, scales, leaves, other leaves, pine cones, or anything you want that comes from a tree to make a mural like this. You can also make a 3D statue like Danny's over here. Look how those pine cones stack together. Great job, Danny.
You as well, my friend.
Now let's see what else we can make with pine cones. Pine cones can also be used to make many different kinds of crafts. You can make a bird feeder like this one here and place it in a tree. All you need to do is find your very own pine cone, spread some peanut butter all around the edges. You can also roll it in peanut butter as well if that's easier. And then once you have it full of peanut butter, you roll it in some seeds. And there you have it, your very own bird feeders. Now you can take those, come on over to a tree, and place them nicely in the tree for birds to go. All right, that one will be down there. And so now you can watch very pretty birds come by and eat your natural pine cone feeders.
Hey, Junior Naturalist, Gino again. I hear there's a secret stone you need to find. Well, if you could find out where I'm standing right now, I think you'll have no problem finding that stone. Rock on, Junior Naturalist.
Alright, welcome inside the Parks Foundation office at Idlewild, where we'll be conducting an experiment to unlock the cones of our coniferous compañeros. Here we have our set of conifer cones. Now, do they all look the same? No. Each type of conifer carries its own cone. Some small, some big, some in between. But the key for these cones is what's inside, which are the seeds. This is the next generation of our conifer trees. Pine cones are hygroscopic. This means basically that they soak up water from the environment, okay? So when it's snowing and there's lots of rain and it's wet outside, these pine cones absorb water and it causes the scales to close. And this protects the seeds inside. And so whenever it gets warm and dry and the perfect conditions for a tree to grow, these cones will open back up and the seed can begin its journey of life. So we're gonna test and see if this really works. Is this pine cone gonna open and close, right? So if they absorb water and that makes them close, how can we test this? How about a jar of water? We're gonna take our pine cone and we're gonna plop it in there. Find a nice dry open pine cone, submerge it under the water. It's okay if it floats a little bit. We're gonna leave this for a few minutes and see if that water can cause this pine cone to hygroscopically close. Well, would you look at that? Our experiment has been successful. Look at our pine cone now, it's all closed up. Guess how long it took for it to close up? 2 days. No. Took about 10 to 15 minutes. This pine cone is quick to protect its precious seeds inside. So, can you think of any ways that we can get this pine cone to open back up and give us its tasty treats inside? Try to think of a couple ways. Could we just set it on the table and let it dry? Or we can put it back in the water. It's probably gonna stay closed. Ooh. There's something in there. A seed. When it opens up, we can get the seed out. This is what this actual seed inside the pine cone looks like. So to get the seeds out of this guy, we're gonna have to dry it out. We can leave it to sit out. Maybe we can try putting this in the oven to accelerate the drying process. And you guys can also experiment at home, try to find different ways to get these pine cones to close. Here we use cold water. You could try it with hot water. You can maybe put it in the fridge, see if that does anything. It's really up to you. But this is one experiment you can try to see how these cones work out in the wilds.
If you're feeling like a super naturalist, you can go out and plant a native tree in your area and watch it grow year-round. It can provide habitat for animals, oxygen in your area, and it can provide you with a beautiful green habitat. So, Junior Naturalists, if all of the different deciduous and evergreen trees that we have here at the park. There's plenty to study.
And if you can't make it out to Idlewild, not to bother, just study the trees around where you live. In the meantime, we'll be exploring around here. See you next month, Junior Naturalists.